This guy, you're saying he spent 2.5 years in prison?
No bail.
Or in jail, I guess.
In jail,
county.
right, local jail, yep.
Which many prisoners would tell you they'd rather be in prison than county, frankly.
Yeah, well, for one thing, it's less chaotic because you have a relatively stable population. People develop their relationships. You kind of know what to expect. Jail, it's different psychopaths every week.
Right. And the people who are running through jail can be really bad dudes who just haven't been convicted of anything yet. And so yeah, it's just imagine 2.5 years of your life snuffed out by some cockhole of a prosecutor is just pissed off at you at something else and gets to use you for their political ends.
There's no case here. There's no way on the legal merits this can be a guilty verdict. But I also hear that the victim was known, liked. It's a small community. Everybody knows everybody. He's lived there forever. The guy who shot him was just moving into the community, trying to buy land from the victim. So he's a relative stranger. The victim is Hispanic. The shooter is white. So there may well be political dynamics here that drove the prosecutor to bring a case that has so little legal merit.
The state has the burden of proof of showing that Dean Cummings, the defendant in this case, committed this homicide beyond a reasonable doubt.
So as you're crab walking or pushing back, what is he doing?
He's swinging at my head with that canister, but I had a hold of his jacket, and I was blocking him with my left hand.
And who had the gun?
I did.
And where was the gun?
It was in my right hand, and I was using my right hand to try to crab walk away from him and trying to get my feet underneath me and blocking him with my left hand.
And was Mr. Ariola touching the gun?
He was all over it. He was trying to get it out of my hand. He was pulling on it, and I was hanging on to it for dear life. I didn't want him to get that gun. I knew it would have been the end of me if he got a hold of that gun.
Did Mr. Ariola say anything to you during this fight?
At the beginning, he said, "I'm going to kill you." That's the first thing he said to me when I fell down in the hallway from the kitchen.
That's a helpful detail.
I believed him. He was in a rage.
That's another helpful one.
The verdict reads as follows. We find the defendant, Dean Cummings, not guilty of second-degree murder. Is charged in count 1 of the grand jury indictment.
Not guilty of second-degree murder.
Verdict number 2. We find the defendant, Dean Cummings, not guilty of
not guilty.
A lesser crime of count 1 of the grand jury indictment.
That's it. Acquitted.
And Mr. Cummings, you've been found not guilty of these charges. You are exonerated of all conditions of the court.
First, he had to survive a life-threatening attack, and then 2.5 years of his life wasted on this kind of nonsense. And nothing will be done to these prosecutors or any of the people who made these decisions to lock this guy in a jail for 2.5 years and try him on murder charges where he would have gone to in a prison for the rest of his life without possibility of early release if he'd been convicted.
Only get one shot, do not miss a chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
For nothing. They had nothing.